June 17th, 2020. It was a humid evening in Shigazuan, China, when she heard the thumping on her apartment door. Pausing episode 5 of Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, the 20-year-old woman pulled on her disposable mask. She bounded from her chair to the door like a puppy eager to meet its owner back from work. Just as hoped, there was her divine being, the postal worker. "Miss Yu Kongshui?" he asked. There was a large cardboard box nestled in his arms, and to her joy and excitement, the package had the company Tiehua's logo on it. "Yes, thank you so much." Kongshui wasn't the type for small talk. In fact, she hardly talked to anyone when unnecessary. Kongshui hurriedly took the box, bowed in gratitude, and scampered back behind her door, closing it. Finally, 5 months of saving up were about to pay off. She can now pilot the animated robots that she loved. Cutting open the box, Kongshui eagerly lifted out the contents like a wildcat scooping flesh from its dead prey. The package contained an aqua green rubbery shirt, trousers, boots, gloves, and helmet, ordered at her clothing size, a long black robotic arm, small size, and a white box-shaped machine, 10 by 15 square inches wide and 11 inches tall. Following the instructions like a religious believer reciting a prayer, Kongshui connected the arm to the top of the white box. Next, she set the white machine at the wall opposite her bed and plugged it into the nearest wall outlet. "Shall I start playing now?" Kongshui mused. She decided to finish her current episode first. It was still 7 p.m. after all. 10 minutes later, Kongshui drew out an extendable USB cable from the white machine and plugged it into her laptop. She then clicked into the website PBO.com, where she created a game account named Meitsun0183 and an avatar, verifying her account by scanning her finger on the trackpad. This was for her new possession, the PBO Station, a virtual reality game system that enabled one to drive or pilot their plastic models in a virtual online world. It consisted of a full-body VR suit, a robotic arm, and a computer unit with a built-in model scanner. Kongshui closed her laptop and removed her shirt and shorts, pulling on the aqua green costume except for the helmet. She opened the closet at the foot of her bed and pulled out a shoebox from the bottom. Inside, resting in a bed of bubble wrap, was a plastic model robot. Kongshui smiled, remembering the past month over which she had built and painted this Bandai HGUC gym custom. All for this day when she could finally pilot it. Last year, she saved up for an airbrush set, and then a spray booth. And now, this game system was about to make one of her biggest dreams come true. First, Kongshui placed the gym custom inside the scanner and closed the small door. The many cameras in the interior would create a 3D image of the model and verify that it was a branded model by comparing the image to pre-programmed product data. A few seconds later, the lights beside the door beeped and glowed green. Next, she locked the free end of the robotic arm into the back of the shirt. This would enable the computer unit to convert the physical movements made by the suit into movement commands for the game. And to make sure the player didn't move away from the system, the soles of the boots contained wheels so that the player could walk on the spot. Finally, Kongshui put on her helmet. In place of a visor, it had an inward-facing screen similar to that of VR goggles. The finger scanner in her right glove verified her account, and the screen lit up. Kongshui was now floating in a blue void, the only thing present being a metal panel in front of her. There was a single gray button, Log In. When she pressed it, the blue void faded into a dimly lit gray concrete room. There was a pair of metal doors in front of her, which quickly slid open. Beyond was an unbelievably vast chamber with overhead lights, benches, and billboard plastered columns that seemed to go on forever. It actually did. She nervously stepped out of the room, doors closing behind her. So, she thought, this is the lobby. From what Kongshui had read about PBO, The lobby was the infinitely generatable location from which all players entered the game. From the lobby, one could chat with other players, select game missions, and read news and advertisements posted by various players and sponsors. Since Kongshui had never been comfortable with companions all her life, she decided to just choose a mission and have fun. Maybe an open battle royale. But I just got here, she suddenly realized. I don't even know how to control my robot. Alright then, first is pilot training. Is there a mission like that? Walking through the lobby, Kongshui found a less crowded directory, an interactive screen found throughout the lobby with which players selected their missions. This one had 3 players in front of it, their name tags being 4 Republic 414, a dark-skinned woman in a red and black racing suit, North Star Kaniku, a muscular yellow-haired East Asian man in cargo pants and a white vest, and Peter the Griffin 6969, a plump, red-headed white man in green slacks, a white button-up shirt, and red tie. She nervously asked, "Excuse me, can you move, please?" The game automatically translated her Chinese into each player's selected language. "Oh, sure. Here." Peter the Griffin 6969 moved aside to let her access the screen. "Oh, cute skin," 4 Republic 414 commented. Kongshui's avatar was an East Asian woman in a navy chongsong dress, orange shorts, and black flats, with her black hair in twin buns. Thank you," she replied out of courtesy. On the directory, Kongshui searched up training, and near the top was the perfect mission. Training course, asteroid field pilot training. That was good enough for what she needed. She was about to press start when 4 Republic 414 asked, "Would you like to practice with us?" "Wait, what? No, I don't know them." Kongshui was about to refuse, but then she realized, you're not supposed to know anyone in online games, and you're not giving any vital information away either, so try making some friends. "Yes, and I don't mean to be rude, but don't you have other things you would rather do?" "Don't worry, we just got here a short time ago and we couldn't think of what to do anyway. The 3 of us are good friends." "Thank you, 4 Republic 414. Don't be so formal. You can call me 4. This is Niku, and this is Peter." She beamed and pointed to North Star Kaniku and Peter the Griffin 6969 respectively. "Can we call you May?" "Yes." 4 then pressed the icon players and added all 4 players' usernames. "Okay, get ready." She then pressed start. 4, Niku, and Peter then vanished from the lobby, and Kongshui's entire vision was replaced by a loading screen. After 5 seconds, the loading screen dissipated into pixels, and Kongshui found herself in a rectangular teal-colored chamber. The walls were plastered with advertisement screens, and the floor was littered with armchairs, beanbags, and couches congregated around a pool table. 4, Niku, and Peter were already in the room, all staring at the giant floor-to-ceiling window spanning the entire wall in front. Though it was a view of space, specifically an asteroid field like the course had promised, the art and imagery were beyond anything Kongshui had ever seen in a game. Wow. "Hello? Earth to May!" Kongshui snapped back to her senses. Peter was fanning his hand in her face. "Oh, I'm sorry. What is this place?" "The asteroid field pilot training course is centered around this space station. This is the break room, where folks sit back and chill. Maybe play pool, maybe watch the people out there fly through the rocks." "Oh, thank you." "Don't worry. Everyone starts somewhere." 4 reassured her, patting Kongshui's back. "Come on, let's start practice." The elevator doors opened with a ding. The 4 walked out into a cavernous concrete chamber. The impossibly high ceiling was speckled with white tube lights, which illuminated the chalky gray floor. And at the far end of the chamber was a giant chrome panel that reached from floor to ceiling, obviously the hatch. not too different from a parking lot, as this was the launch deck, where players set out in their models to fly through the asteroid field. Okay, who's launching first? Peter asked. Of course, it's gotta be 4. Yeah, of course. 4 was already wriggling in excitement. I'll see you guys. She dashed in the direction of the hatch, then stopped at a giant white circle on the floor. 4 then raised her right hand, palm facing up as if asking for a tip, and said, "Open." A mass of bright blue pixels sprung from her palm and coalesced into a floating holographic screen. After tapping several buttons, a new giant mass of pixels sprung from the floor and formed into her model, a small triangular spacecraft, red and black like 4's clothing. 4 clambered up into the open cockpit, closed the hatch, and suddenly, another chrome panel slid up from the floor to the ceiling, separating 4 from the rest of them. Kongshe started to panic, but Peter told her to calm down. When a player launches, the hatch has to open. Outside the hatch is space, so another panel has to slide up to keep air inside the dock. There is no air in the game, but the folks who made it must have wanted it to be realistic. Seconds later, the lights embedded in the inner panel blinked green to signal that 4 had successfully launched. The panel then slid back up to show a now empty dock, the outer hatch closed. You should go next, May. Niku suddenly spoke up. Kongshe had never heard him speak so far, and jumped in fright at the unfamiliar voice. Look, I'm just not a talkative guy, okay? Kongshe walked to the large white circle, like 4 had done, and summoned her own holographic screen likewise. What did 4 press? After a brief scan of the screen, she found the right button, Access Model. She pressed it and chose her only model, the Gym Custom. After the robot had finished forming out of pixels, Kongshe looked at it with a satisfied smile. This was a model she built with all her heart, and now she would pilot it like an actual vehicle. Inside the cockpit, to Kongshe's surprise, was a lone robotic arm, identical to that of the PBO station. But then she realized that it made perfect sense. This was a humanoid robot, and this would be much easier than the control panel seen in the anime. Kongshe entered the cockpit and pressed the red button marked hatch, and a panel slid down to cover the opening behind her, locking in place with a clack. As it happened, the robotic arm suddenly moved toward Kongshe and locked into her back. Finally, screens in the front and sides of the cockpit lit up, displaying the dock from the Gym Customs head camera. Kongshe then heard the rumbling of the inner panel sliding up behind her. Once that stopped, the hatch ahead fell back to present an opening to space. Not wasting time, Kongshe squatted for takeoff, and a 2-foot catapult, like those seen in the Gundam franchise, appeared at the Gym Customs' feet. 3, 2, 1. A robotic female voice counted down. Go. The catapult pushed Kongshe's robot toward the opening at high speed. With nothing else in her head, Kongshe kicked off with the Gym Customs' legs the moment she reached the edge. She did launch safely, but Kongshe didn't know how to activate the thrusters on her robot's body. She squirmed, the robot slowly drifting in space. Say boost! 4's voice startled Kongshe back to her senses. You've got to say boost so that the thrusters will work. Oh, thank you. Boost! The Gym Customs thruster ignited and began rumbling. Kongshe tried several basic movements, then flew away from the dock's now closed hatch. Hey, you better hurry and get away because Peter's about to launch, 4 warned her. Sure enough, the hatch had reopened and Peter's model whooshed out. It was a Zoid, Kongshe remembered. It was a brown and yellow wild liger, but it had the head and wings of a bird. Kongshe summoned her screen again and quickly found the chat button, searching up Peter's username. What is this machine, Peter? She asked. Oh, this bad boy? It was inspired by this mythical creature called a griffin. It's a lion with the head and wings of an eagle, he explained. Yes, I've heard of this creature before. Cool, right? Niku's coming now. Niku's model was a humanoid robot like Kong Shue's, an Alto from Bandai's toy-only line of 1x144 scale model robots. It was painted navy, aquamarine, and white, and its forearms and ankles were large custom parts with extra rocket boosters. He must be a martial artist. When all four of them had finally met up, the players unanimously decided to have a 2-on-2 battle, Peter and Niku versus 4 and Kong Shue. Oh yeah, they're gonna get it, right, Mei? 4 asked while breathing heavily in excitement. Of course. 2 hours of repeated game deaths and relaunches later, the 4 players sprawled in the break room to catch their breath. That was so much fun! 4 had been the hardest player to shoot down due to her speed and tiny craft. Yeah, some crazy that was. Peter had turned out to be the type of gamer who cursed like a maniac when excited or frustrated. Yes, Niku had become a silent, merciless destroyer when in battle, targeting any and all weak points. So this is what it's like to have people who care about you. Kong Shue's parents had died when she was 2, and the aunt and uncle who adopted her had regularly taken out their anger on the girl they didn't want to be burdened with. Oh yeah, what's the time? Kong Shue opened her screen. The default Chinese time clock showed that it was 10 p.m. Yikes, she had to arrive for her job at McDonald's by 9 a.m. She groggily rose to her feet. I'm sorry, everyone, but I have to sleep because of work tomorrow. Yeah, of course. Bye, Mei. Good night. Add us as our friends in PBO, okay? I will. Kong Shue smiled. She beckoned her screen to rise up, a trick learned from 4, and selected Leave Mission. The loading screen took up her vision again, and Kong Shue found herself back in the lobby. She summoned her screen again one final time and pressed Quit Game. Her helmet screen turned off, and Kong Shue heard a click as the robotic arm disconnected from her back. She removed the helmet and yawned. I can't wait to come back tomorrow.